Hello. Today we're going to be talking about factoring trinomials. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the grouping method we talked about last time in order to keep doing this. So let's take a look at my first example. I have x squared minus 7x plus 10. Now last time when we did grouping we had to have 4 different terms. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to split this into 4 different terms. Well, how do I split this up? Well, what we want to do, if you remember that we have a number 1 in front of this x squared. So what I'm looking for are two numbers that are going to multiply to, and I'm going to look for the 10 and the 1, the product of those, the product of 1 and 10, which is just 10. So I needed a number or pair of numbers that's going to multiply to 10, and those same numbers also have to add to the negative 7. Okay, so let's take a look or make a list of things that multiply to 10. Well, factors of 10 include 1 and 10, or 2 and 5, and that's it. But we needed them to multiply to a positive 10, but add to a negative. So my best bet here is for both of the numbers to be negative, because negative 1 and negative 10 multiply to make positive 10, negative 2 and negative 5 multiply to make positive 10. Well, of those numbers, which pair adds to negative 7? Well, there we are, negative 2 and negative 5. So those are the numbers I'm going to use to split up this trinomial into a 4-termed polynomial. So here we go. Let's take, I'll break this down, I'll have x squared first, then I'll do a negative 2x, the negative 2 coming from right there, plus, in my second set of parentheses, I'm going to put the negative 5x, the negative 5 coming from right here, plus 10 still at the end. And if you look, negative 2x and negative 5x would combine to make the negative 7x right there. So I have the exact same information written up top as I do in red there. It's just split into 4 terms instead of 3. Now let's do our grouping. So from the first set of parentheses, I can take out an x, leaving me with x minus 2, plus from the second set of parentheses, I can take out a negative 5, leaving us with, again, x minus 2. And so when we finish this up, I'm going to have x written first, and then minus the 5. Okay, that's coming from here and here, leaving us with just the x minus 2. Okay, and that's that one factored. If you were to FOIL this back together, you would get x squared minus 7x plus 10. Let's test it out. If I were to FOIL this back together, well, my firsts give me x squared. My outers, when I take x times negative 2, I get minus 2x. Then my inners, negative 5 times x. And lasts, negative 5 times negative 2 is a positive 10. And there we are. It looks just like this right now. I'd combine like terms, and I'd end up right where I started. So we're good to go. All right, let's take a look at the next one. X squared minus 3x minus 10. So we have to multiply 2. Well, we have the number 1 in front of the x squared. So whatever 1 times negative 10 is, which is negative 10. And we have to add to the number negative 3 from the middle here. Okay, and now I need to make a list of things that multiply to negative 10. Well, things that multiply to a negative, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. Things like 1 and 10, or positive, negative, 2 and 5. Well, if one's positive, one's negative, and we need a negative 3, we're going to use this again. We're going to do a positive 2 and a negative 5. That's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and do this. We have x squared plus 2x, in parentheses, plus, then I'll do a negative 5x, minus 10. And again, I'll show you right here. These two combine, if I were to combine like terms, these two would combine to make negative 3x. All right, next step. I'm going to take out an x, leaving me with x plus 2, plus, and the next one I'll take out a negative 5, leaving me again with x plus 2. So our grouping method here, we're done with when we have x minus 5 times x plus 2. And again, I can test this by going through grouping. So if I were to send the x through to both, x squared plus 2x, and then send the negative 5 through to both, negative 5x minus 10, leaving me with x squared minus 3x minus 10, and we did it. It's the same thing. So this is my answer indeed. All right. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We need numbers, a pair of numbers that can multiply to, well, my coefficient out front is 3. My leading coefficient is 3. My last term gets me 4. So we need numbers that multiply to 12. And at the same time, those pair of numbers have to add to 8. Well, things that multiply to 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And of those, because everything's positive, which ones are going to add to 8? Well, there we are, 2 and 6. So we'll write this 3x squared plus 2x plus 6x plus 4. 2 and the x and the 6x would combine to make 8x. Okay, next, I'm going to take out I can take out an x from the first set of parentheses, leaving me with 3x plus 2. Plus, and I'll take out between 6x and 4, the only thing I can take out is a 2, leaving me with 3x plus 2. My parentheses do match, so I can keep going. We'll finish with, well, we have x plus 2 that we can pull out of each of those, leaving me with 3x plus 2. And there we are. All right, and then let's finish over here. We'll do the same thing again for the 4th time. What do we have to multiply to? Well, 6 times negative 8 is negative 48. We also have to take the pair of numbers that multiply to negative 48 and add them together to get 13. So what do we have here? Things that multiply to 48. 1 and 48. 2 and 24. 3 and 16. 4 and 12. 5 doesn't go in, but 6 does. 6 and 8. And that's it. Between these options, one of them, because we have to multiply to a negative, has to be positive, one has to be negative. So if we were to do a plus minus here, which ones of these, well, they're going to be opposite signs, so we can subtract. Which one's going to get me 13? Well, here it is, 3 and 16. We'll need a negative 3 and a positive 16. So let's write that out. 6x squared still, but now we'll do a minus 3x plus 16x minus 8. I'll group these together. Okay, next, let's take out from the first parentheses, we'll take out a 3x, leaving me with 2x minus 1, plus from the second parentheses I can take out an 8, leaving me with 2x minus 1, which is excellent. The parentheses match. What do we get? Well, my first parentheses, I'll put 3x plus 8. My second parentheses, what's left in those parentheses are the same, the 2x minus 1. There we are, and we are done.